Just moving on, we are also joined by Honorable Anyang Nyong'o, who is the governor of Kisumu County, to give us his insight from the county government. Governor, to start with you, you are the first person yesterday but one rather, to give your message of condolence to Mama Sarah Obama when he passed on. How do you describe Mama Sarah Obama, Governor?
Well, as I said in my message to the family of Mama Sarah Obama, and the Kogelo people and the people of Kenya in general, Mama Sarah was renowned really for her philanthropic work, which was very extensive, supporting orphans and paying fees for school children, supporting women's movement and human rights in general. She became very vocal and very quite prominent and quite forward-looking. And so even culturally, she is a pillar and a matriarch in the Kogelo society. And we really have lost a mother, grandmother, matriarch, and a leader, really, in general.
All right. Governor.
Hello?
Okay, let me just ask you this question, that you recently met Veranda Paul, who is the High Commissioner of India to Kenya, who has been in the front line in the supply of the vaccines in Kenya, having received the initial over 1 million doses of the doses that later 100,000 doses from India. As a county, what are some of the medically advanced measures are you taking to ensure that your county is not left behind in this vaccination process?
Well, first, as you know, we are a vaccination center. Being a regional referral facility, we have a referral facility here called Jaramogi Oginga Teaching and Referral Hospital. That is where the bulk of vaccination is taking place, although it's going to be rolled out to the sub-county hospitals, particularly in Ahero and Kombewa, because we know as we roll it out, given the availability of vaccines, those other sub-county hospitals are very important. Now, the measures we have taken really is first and foremost to make sure that we have personnel to handle the vaccines, and our staff at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital and our health staff in general are extremely competent and have been doing a good job. Further, the community health workers have been trained to sensitize people not just about COVID-19, but also the importance of vaccination. Information has been spread to them, and I do believe that even given the public education we have been doing in Kisumu County, the fear that was there before, instilled particularly by the social media, has for all intents and purposes been laid to rest.
Thank you, Governor. And speak of vaccination and vaccines, what is the progress of vaccination in Kisumu County this far?
Well, you know, as we speak today, we have started a vaccination program rollout about 2 weeks ago. The sub-county facility at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga has so far registered 8,619 frontline workers to get the vaccination. You know, first and foremost, we must be registered. Out of these 8,619, 7,498 have so far been vaccinated. Now, 3,461 of these are females, while 4,037 are males. So the proportionality between the female and male workers is not that very different. We have already started pre-registering teachers and policemen, because the second line of vaccination was to go to these two categories of public servants, because they are, as it were, also frontline workers. So first of all, they're being pre-registered so that we know who they are, that their biometric information is taken, and then once that is done, they will be called one by one to be vaccinated at appropriate centers, particularly Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Facility.
Okay, Governor, just to ask you this, how many vaccination centers do you have in your county so that people from your county can visit these various areas to take their vaccines?
Well, I've said for certain that we have one at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital here in Kisumu. We also have vaccination at the Kisumu County Hospital right in the center of the city, and that we are devolving further to have vaccination centers at the sub-county hospitals, particularly Ahero and Kombewa, provided the vaccines are available. You see, what you have to understand, my friend, is that the Ministry of Health, which is responsible for receiving the vaccines, have been very frank with us, and have said that the units of vaccination will be sent to regional centers, particularly Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital. And then we should decide, given the flow of people who need to be vaccinated, particularly now the frontline workers, whether we need really to start using the sub-county facilities, because we received up to date 15,000 units of vaccines. Now that 15,000 units, you know, it has a shelf life, and but at the same time, you must make sure that you do pre-registration. This thing is very systematic and very scientific. It's not just a question of getting the units and then you begin sitting in a field and giving them to Tom, Dick, and Harry. No, Tom, Dick, and Harry must be first of all pre-registered according to the category of people being vaccinated, so that we use these vaccines effectively, efficiently, and properly.
Okay, Governor. Just to ask you this, we happen to know and associate AstraZeneca vaccine with COVID-19, and we've also seen you having discussions with AstraZeneca Pharmaceuticals on other areas in cooperation. For example, the asthma management in your county. Now, tell us more about this, and how is it going to, the association and partnerships going to help you to improve the health situation in the county?
No, come again. What's the question again? Make it very clear. What are you saying?
Okay. We know that AstraZeneca is associated with COVID-19, and we've also seen you having discussion with AstraZeneca Pharmaceuticals to manage asthma in your county. How is it going to pan out?
Well, I mean, we have just started negotiations and discussions, and of course our health specialists know that asthma is an ailment that AstraZeneca has the what do you call it, the ability to manage and perhaps to make it less problematic to life. You know, asthma is something that if you get it, it can't really be cured as such. It's something that is properly managed, just like high blood pressure and things like those. So whenever you come across a company like AstraZeneca, which has ventured in that field, I think it's just proper and necessary to have that kind of discourse and let our scientists and our health workers and health professionals work with them.
All right, let's move on. Governor, you recently launched the Traders Empowerment Program in Kisumu County, and which included biometric data registration for all the traders in the county. Now, what was the importance of this, Governor?
The importance of this is that we have had thousands and thousands of traders trading on the streets. Now, this is not their choice, really. It is a necessity that has come historically. As you know, habits are very difficult to change. The traders have believed that they must go to public places where they can meet their clients. As you know, if trading was to be done on the streets, then supermarkets like, what do you call them? Like these Naivas and so on would not exist. I mean, the Naivas of this world, those traders, as you know, also started small, and then they grew into supermarkets. And people go there. They don't go to people needing commodities. People need commodities, go to supermarkets and buy. My philosophy has been that if traders are trading on the streets, on the road, the ability to accumulate capital and grow their trade is very limited, because it means you do something permanently on a subsistence basis. Now, in order for them to grow their business, we must create infrastructure and facilities where they are provided with security, where they can also use their business as collateral for getting loans and growing their capital, so that they become eventually even as big as an adversaries. This is the process we are involved in. In order to do that, you must know accurately who these traders are. A, name, age, marital status, and everything else. 2, where they are trading. And 3, what they are trading in. And 4, what kind of access do they have to credit or capital to grow their trade. Now we are taking this biometric registration to have that kind of data so that as we build markets, as we have indeed done, we are already built a market called Chichwa, which is already occupied by traders, about 800 traders. We are soon opening Uhuru Business Park, which will take about 8,000 to 10,000 traders. We are working on Kibuye, which is a 16-acre trading area, which will swell a lot of people. I do hope that within a matter of 2 years, hawking on the streets will a thing of the past, and our traders will have a much more secure environment to trade in, grow their capital, and become as big as the knife vessels of this world.
All right, Governor. So in matters as far as trade is concerned, so what is your commitment on women and other small groups in your county?
Well, you know, women are the majority of the traders. I would say 75% of street traders are women. So we are doing them for them, not because they are women, obviously they are women, but because they have excelled in trading, and as citizens of Kisumu, they deserve better.
Okay. So, Governor, we have seen the president making numerous trips to Kisumu County, to Kisumu Town, Kisumu City, in an effort to actually reopen the port of Kisumu. How is the progress so far, and how is it going to change the economic face of that particular county and the western region, Kenya as a whole?
Well, you know that the port is soon going to be opened by the president. I don't know when. He is very anxious to open it. And at the moment, there's dredging work going on at the port. As you know, for over 30 years, the Gulf has been invaded by affluence, and the Gulf is actually shallower than it was before. It's only 18 meters deep. And so it's being dredged so that it can be safe for incoming traffic of ships, both for leisure and mercantile ships and so on, carrying heavy goods. At the moment, the only ship that is using Kisumu port effectively is the Uhuru, which plies the route from Kisumu to Port Bell, carrying goods between the two countries, and being very successful. It moves petroleum products and oil products and so on, and other commodities. And that, I think, it goes to and fro about 4 times a week. So I do believe that when it's open, we'll have much more trading communication between Kisumu, Mwanza, Bukoba, Port Bell, and so on. And by the way, before I forget, the Marine College here in Kisumu is complete. And that is another thing that the president may soon open in Kisumu. So the Kisumu port, as it were, is recapturing its past role in the East African economy and even expanding. As you know, the standard meter gauge railway is soon to reach Kisumu from Nakuru, and it will continue to Butere, and that too will increase the amount of business and communication and trade supported by the standard meter gauge railway as well as the maritime transport in the lake. Now, that means that other inland support systems must also now be reconfigured. For example, the internal container depot near Kibos, which was meant really to support the movement of goods from Mombasa to Kisumu and the loading of goods from Kisumu to inland. The internal container depot, with the opening of the port as well as the railway line, is going to be very active as well. And finally, the Lake Victoria Basin Commission, which is an East African community entity, is just broken ground and building its capital in Kisumu. That is an extremely important commission in the managing the political economy of Lake Victoria on behalf of the member states of the East African community.
All right, very true, Governor. And we must say that Kisumu County has completely changed and it now looks amazingly beautiful. Governor, please stick around. We still have got a few questions to ask you after this short commercial break. But you, as our viewer, you also need to get more from the governor. So stick around. Let's take this break. We'll be right back.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit. Quickbit? Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings. Quickbit shilingi moja unaweza nunua pizza. Shilingi mbili unaweza nunua microwave. Shilingi tano unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Trying to advise you to do is to start this from scratch and then see what happens from there.
Because I am old enough to date whomever it is I want.
But you are living in my house. Therefore, abide by the rules.
Would want to buy his shares. Wouldn't it be better to keep Manuel's shares in our family? This is Constanza Olazabal, my girlfriend.
On the next episode of
hizo sura nikiziangalia hivi yani nazifananisha lakini asiingiani vizuri bado.
Ni Sudi, urafika kwa ishi wapi?
Mishomoroni. Wamtaka?
Na nimtake nimpeleke wapi?
Penda nawe.
Ama kweli wewe umefanya kutumwa na Sudi, si ndio?
this weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Hey, Fala, you have so much authority today. Hey, what is happening?
Oh, auna ambali, we are going to be models like those who advertise air food.
Air food? I've never had such a thing.
Mabuta ya nywele.
Does anybody here care about my presence?
What did you say? That was my contract.
Was. That is busted. Now it is my contract. Who is the idiot now?
Confident, okay? Then you... Like that.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
And welcome back. You are watching KBC Channel 1, and of course, this is Good Morning Kenya. My name is Victor Lo. You can reach me at Victor Lo on Twitter, on Instagram. Let's get this conversation going on. And with me is Kisumu Governor, Professor Anyang Nyong'o, who is also getting us to get the feel on what is happening on that lakeside city. Just before we took a break, we asked a question on how the question is going to be, but then now, let me ask you, Governor, if you can hear me. Last week, there was not a very good incident where one lady, Beatrice Magolo, was dragged by the city inspectorate askaris on the tarmac for allegedly hawking at a designated area. I know this is a matter before court, but what can you say about it?
I mean, it was unfortunate, and we, as you know, that there's a apart from the court case, there's an inquiry into it to establish exactly what happened. We would not like to go by the impression that has been created in public as to what happened. We would like the facts to be known so that appropriate action can be taken to avoid such incidences in the future. One unfortunate incident, unfortunately, has really hurt the public and hurt the people of Kisumu, and we would like to deal with it effectively. As you know, it is in court. We await the court process. But in the meantime, we have ourselves have taken certain corrective measures to avoid such unfortunate incidences occurring within our security enforcement agencies. We did our best at that point in time. I think the measures that were taken by officers, senior officers in security, were well executed. I was myself in Nairobi, and I think that I don't think a thing like that can happen again under these measures that have been taken by the county government. The said lady was treated at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital, and her health taken care of effectively, so that that incident did not unnecessarily harm well-being. Now, coming to the railway that you mentioned earlier, of course, I explained to you that the line is almost complete, and that is perhaps one of the things that His Excellency will do when it comes to Kisumu, to officially inaugurate that standard, that meter gauge railway coming from Nakuru to Kisumu, and opening what used to be known as the lunatic line from Kisumu to Mombasa as no longer a lunatic but a productive enterprises to facilitate trade and development in our region.
Okay, so Governor, the City Management Committee in your county from sometimes mid last year issued different directives to hawkers to vacate some places in the county. What plans do you have for these hawkers, and what is this secret that you have for the people of Kisumu County?
Well, I mean, they never issued contradictory information. I don't know where you get that one from. There are bylaws passed by the county assembly. The assembly is a bona fide, the city management is a bona fide organization established by Urban Areas and Cities Act and also the County Government Act. The board has been in place for quite some time now, over 2 years. The city manager assumed, the current city manager assumed office a few months ago and doing his job very effectively. And two, we work very closely with the business community here and social organization to make sure that what happens in terms of policies and regulations are publicly discussed and accepted and internalized by those concerned. For example, now the beautification program in the city is being done by a group of businessmen and civil society leadership in conjunction with the city management. So here we have a culture of effective public participation and doing things that will help people. Now, this is related very much to what you mentioned earlier about biometric registration of traders. Unless we biometrically register traders, not just street traders, but all traders, we cannot collect revenue properly, nor can the government be properly accountable to those doing business, because then when issues arise, you will know exactly who you are dealing with and don't begin guesswork that quite often leads to wrong implementation of laws and regulations and wrong application of public policy.
All right, Governor, thank you for that. We cannot end this discussion before asking this. You have been one of the people supporting devolution. What is your take on devolution to this far? Has it made gains?
Tremendous gains. Look, if you consider what devolution has done in less than 10 years in the counties, and compared with what national government did in 50 years in terms of district focus for rural development, the difference is as huge as the distance between heaven and earth. I will tell you. Because I was a member of the District Development Committee as an MP for Kisumu Rural for 10 years. In my constituency, I only saw one fish pond without fish. That was done by that district development, district focus for rural development. And that compares very poorly to what we are doing now in the county, to what other counties are doing, the number of health facilities that have been opened in counties all over Kenya, the number of roads open in counties all over Kenya, the number of small and medium business enterprises that are springing up all over Kenya because of devolution, because money now flows to the grassroots, and more people at the local level are actually employed in implementation of devolution, not simply as public servants, but also as private sector who sees the opportunity that devolution offers.
Okay, Governor, briefly, one question. Parliamentary or presidential system of governance, which one do you go for?
Well, I think I've always rooted parliamentary democracy for our parliamentary system of government for very good reasons that I published my book, launched sometime last year by the Prime Minister, and it's very clearly I put the question, presidential or parliamentary democracy. Choices to be made.
Choices to be made. Governor, that is okay. As we finish, have you been vaccinated? Yes, you did.
Yes, I was perhaps one of the first to be vaccinated in the county. That's over more than 10 days ago. I really want to set an example for the others to know that this speculation, the social media, that there are side effects, blah, 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 blah. I took the risk. I haven't seen any side effects. So I would encourage everybody to be vaccinated. By the way, if you get vaccination and COVID-19 attacks you, you are at least 70 to 80% protected in terms of immunity. So it is everybody's advantage that you take that opportunity to have a defense mechanism against COVID-19 in your body.
All right, Governor, before we finish this conversation, let me just give you 1 minute to send your message of condolence to people of Kiambaa following the demise of their Member of Parliament, Paul Koinange, who succumbed to COVID-19 this morning.
Oh, yes, we are really saddened by what happened to Paul. I think Kiambu has really borne quite a heavy load, I think, in terms of the fatalities of this COVID-19, particularly Paul Koinange's family and friends and comrades and those who know him and those who have always appreciated what he stands for and his contribution to our society. We are all very saddened. We pray to God to keep its soul in eternal peace.
All right, Governor, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Of course, we've been having that discussion with the Kisumu County Governor, Professor Peter Anyang Nyong'o, on the Viewpoint.